question or comment?
All right, you're on.
Oh, hello. I am Russell Glasser, and I can't see the screen or hear any sound. So I just was informed that the show has started, and welcome to the Atheist Experience. With me today, we have actually, I'm the current president of the atheist community of Austin, and we have the previous president that I defeated in a terrifying coup a few months ago, Jen Peeples.
Also known as I declined to run.
Yes. Jen is super glad not to be on the Atheist Experience, or not to be the president of the group anymore. Because I'll tell you guys what, being president of a group is freaking boring. I mean, it's actually really cool to be in charge of a group that owns a building and enough funds to set up a TV studio and a library and everything. But, like, you know, you got to run board meetings and you got to make sure that all your amazing guests that you have coming up have appropriate travel plans set up. So, yeah, first world problems. Today is July 17th, 2016. We are a live call-in internet-based atheist TV show broadcasting from Austin, Texas, dedicated to promoting positive atheism and the separation of church and state. You can catch us live every Sunday on YouTube or Ustream.tv, as many people are doing right now. The official Atheist Experience website is www.atheist-experience.com. Also, this isn't part of my usual mentions, but the amazing new website is also available at atheist-community.org. Go check it out, and you can see all the incredible events coming up on our new calendar, and a nice backdrop of Austin, and real menus that don't look like they were made in 1998, which they were.
Because they were. Yes, this was a project that's been well over a year in the making.
Right.
So yeah, we're really proud of this new website.
So
check it out.
You know, all you people who have been saying for years and years your webpage sucks, we know.
Yeah.
And all you people who volunteered to contribute free labor to upgrade the website, we appreciate your enthusiasm, but perhaps a lot of you don't quite appreciate how much effort it takes to make a full-featured, functional group website.
Which was an ongoing problem because we had several people step up and say, "Hey, I'll contribute my labor and redo the website for you." And once they realized what was involved, they backed away from that slowly. And
I tell you what, I am
and I don't blame them.
I don't either. I'm a software
I'm not
engineer, a web development professional, and I wouldn't have volunteered to touch that project with anything. But it's working. There are, hopefully you won't notice, or wouldn't have noticed unless I was mentioning it right now, that there are a few missing things, and odds and ends might not be perfect. There's more work to do is what I'm saying, but that's it's so much better than it was before. If you like or hate what we're doing, you can give feedback by either sending email to tv@atheist-community.org or visit the official show blog and yak at the open thread, which goes up every single week at freethoughtblogs.com/AXP. And if you do enjoy this show, you are also free to check out and come into and watch live the nonprofits, which also broadcast here from the Free Thought Library in Austin, Texas, every first and third Wednesday of the month. This coming Wednesday is a third Wednesday of the month, so you should tune in or you should download the podcast if you can't make it. That's July 20th. And as always, the cast and crew of the Atheist Experience will be going to dinner after the show at Threadgill's North location, 6416 North Lamar. We'll be arriving around 6:15-ish p.m. or so. But I just want to give you advance warning. If you are planning to come to the show 3 weeks from now, I want to try a new place, and I'm hosting that week, so we're going to try a new place. The location is Star of India, which I failed to look up the address before I went. But hang on, I'm going to get it right now. No. Wait, Star of India is at 2900 West Anderson Lane. So 3 weeks from now is going to be August 7th. You can come on over. All right, so we got some other announcements before we get into callers. In a couple of weeks, the Riverside Atheists in the Los Angeles area are going to have some kind of boring event called An Evening with Russell Glasser, host of the Atheist Experience. So if you happen to be in the Los Angeles area, they're going to the Mexicali Bar and Grill from 6 to 9:30 p.m. That is in Riverside, and that's Thursday, July 28th. So I hope you guys will come on out and listen to my brand new talk that I've been working hard to write for you guys about communication skills. There are other exciting events coming up for the atheist community of Austin in August 27th. This is not specifically an ACA event, but it is an annual event that Austinites love. It's the Gay Pride Festival and Parade. ACA always has a booth there, and this year is going to be no exception, and it's a good opportunity to come down and say hi and whisper in our ears, I'm an atheist, but I can't talk to anybody else in my life.
Yeah.
You got anything to say about that? Jen will be manning the booth first thing in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely, with some volunteers from the ACA. And yeah, we have, we host a booth every year at the Pride event. And it's just the festival. We're not going to have a float in the parade.
No. Too much work.
Yeah, really. But yeah, we'll be there for the festival, and we typically try to get somewhere close to the family area of the Pride Festival, but I don't know how that's going to work out this year. I think they've changed it up a little bit.
Okay.
So as soon as we know something about where we're going to be, we'll let you know, and you can find us out there and stop by and see us.
Yes. Also, very, very important, the Bat Cruise, the annual ACA Bat Cruise, which we talk up every year as the best event that we do all year, because it is. That is going to take place on September 24th. That is a Saturday. The Bat Cruise is from 6 to 8 p.m. Tickets are available now. And before the Bat Cruise, we always host a speaker, and I'm very pleased to say that this year, the afternoon before the Bat Cruise, we are going to be hosting Greta Christina. She is an atheist activist and the author of such fine books as Coming Out Atheist and Why Are You Atheists So Angry? And she's a super cool person, and you're not going to want to miss that talk.
Yeah. We've been trying to get Greta here for a special event for a while now. And she's extremely busy, and we just couldn't find a time when she was available, so I'm delighted that she's going to be here for our Bat Cruise this year. Right.
I have huge respect for Greta.
Yes.
Well, we about ready to get to callers?
Yes.
Actually, before we do, it seems like Jen and I can't be on the show very much without something controversial coming out of our mouths that makes people hate us. So here it is. I just saw the new Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It was really good.
I knew it.
It's really funny. I dig Kate McKinnon.
I love her anyway from Saturday Night Live.
She's hilarious. And the other two are fine people as well. I really enjoyed Bridesmaids with Kristen Wiig. And pretty much every, let's see, so I don't want to spoil all the cameos, but it is very obvious that the stars of the previous movie are fully on board with this. And there was a really nice bit written by Harold Ramis's daughter. There is also a quick tribute in the new Ghostbusters to the late Harold Ramis. His daughter wrote something very nice about her memories of her and how much he probably actually would have enjoyed the new Ghostbusters too. So bring on the hate mail.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we're going to talk to Tony. Tony? Hey, Tony.
Hello?
Hey,
Hello.
Tony is calling from St. Louis, which I've been to twice. Great, very nice city.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi. We can hear you too.
Hi.
What's up?
I'm just really just want to speak on the fact that if you look at all religions, they have some type of code, law, or way in which one conduct him or herself.
Mm-hmm.
But as I have seen that the atheist platform has tended to really been open doors for people just to, hey, I'm just going to do what I want to do. You know
Well-
what I'm saying? For instance, we're going to speak on a topic that's starting to be touchy for even people with religion, like homosexual activity.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's looking at it at the face of it is just unnatural. I'm saying it's really, you know what I'm saying, if you just think about it, even with animals, dogs, they will sniff and see if it's a female. Now, you look at homosexual activity now.
Just a sec. You do know that you can't. No, this is going to be a conversation, not a rant. Okay, that's how the show
I'm
works.
not doing a rant, but
So
I'm trying to go
yeah,
on with my
no. We're going to talk back and forth to each other, and if you want to
Okay,
just
come
go
on.
on uninterrupted for 5 minutes, I'm going to have to hang up. Okay. You do know that there is homosexuality in animals, right?
Yes, it's over 300 different animals, but that's not the point I was going on to make. Okay, are you homosexual?
No.
I am.
Okay, I know you are, Gene, because I listen to the show. Now, okay, since you're not homosexual, since it's all cool and good, why don't you try it?
Why don't I try what?
No, not
Me?
you, Gene. I'm speaking to the yeah. Why don't you try it?
I happen to not be interested.
Why-
I mean,
yeah,
I have a lot of
why
gay
would it-
friends, and I like them very much, but
okay,
you
no, I'm
cannot
talking about
control
you.
what you're attracted to.
No. You can't control it. See, you control it with discipline.
No, that's
Oh.
not how this works.
So wait, should I? Are you saying I should discipline myself to be more gay?
No, I'm saying no. This you're making things up. I'm saying what you should do, since you're saying that it's not unnatural, that it's something natural for. Because just think about it, okay, all of us homosexual. If everybody was homosexual, well, we wouldn't produce. We wouldn't even.
Wait a
have this
minute.
conversation 'cause we're
There's
down for
nothing.
100
There's
years.
nothing about being gay that prohibits you from having children.
Okay, so 2 women can have children. Are you serious? 2 men can have children.
That's not.
No.
That's not how it happens. You absolutely know nothing about this.
Jon Snow.
You're not making sense. So how can 2 women have children? How can 2
Well,
men
you go-
come off
She
artificial
didn't say
insemination?
2 women
I
can have
didn't.
children.
I didn't say
dude.
2 women can have children. I said there's nothing about being gay that limits your fertility. So
Okay,
if
but
2
I'm
women
saying,
want to
listen,
have
I'm
a
talking about the
child,
natural way.
okay, I'm
I
gonna
said
break
the
it down for you.
natural
Okay, I'm gonna break it down for you. I'm gonna make it really simple for you to understand. Okay, so one woman and another woman fall in love and decide they want to have a baby. So what they do is they call Fairfax Cryobank and they order the sperm, and then they have the sperm shipped to a local cryobank. And then when the one woman who's going to carry the baby, or maybe they're each going to carry a baby, then when they're ovulating, they go over and pick up the sperm. And then they bring it over to the doctor where they do the insemination, or if they're going to do it at home, they can do it at home. Okay? It's
say
not
we
that
didn't have-
complicated.
Right,
Okay,
but
say we
also,
didn't
I
have
mean,
it, so it's okay. Say we didn't have that process, right? This
Mm-hmm.
is science. If we didn't have that process, so we would be extinct if homosexuality.
wouldn't.
Okay, I said if we
No,
didn't
we
have that
wouldn't. There's
process-
nothing that says that a lesbian can't go to a male friend and say, "Hey, can you jizz in a cup for me?" And
let me
See, once
ask you
again-
something, sir.
once again,
How
it's a-
many
once
kids?
again, it's a-
Hang on. How
Yeah.
many kids do you have?
I have 3.
Okay. How long have you been married?
About 8 years.
So let's see, at about 1 a year, give or take, that means that you have missed out on having 5 more kids. Have you had any sex in between those times?
No.
What?
No.
no.
Well, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
didn't mean
Well,
to
yeah,
get personal.
I did, but I'm trying to see. I'm not understanding your point.
I'm just saying, do you feel guilty about all the additional children that you could have had in between?
No. Okay, that's not the point that I'm making.
Well, I mean, don't you agree then that people are not obligated to have like a constant number of children throughout their lives? And is it okay with you if some people don't have any? Like, what's the problem? Why does that upset you?
Yes, I agree. It don't upset me. I got homosexual friends, and they even agree if we all just become homosexuals, not all this insemination stuff.
Are they going to make you? Wait. Who said anything about making everyone homosexual?
Yeah.
Are you afraid that you're going to get gay?
No, I'm giving an example.
Okay.
Even a homosexual.
But it's a dumb example because we don't have a problem with people not having enough kids. In case you haven't noticed, the population of the Earth has been growing like exponentially because that's how population works. So, I mean, are you afraid that people will stop having kids entirely?
No, see, I knew y'all was going to try to say the first thing that y'all try to do is say, oh, a person got homophobia because they don't agree with
Nobody's accused you of having homophobia.
No,
I didn't.
I'm just saying.
No one has even brought that up. We're just trying to get to the point of, why are you obsessing about how many kids people can have?
That ain't what I'm upset. I never said I'm obsessed about that. That's you making an accusation.
You're the one who brought it up.
No, my point, listen, this is my point, that homosexual activity is unnatural. It's unnatural for men.
It's not unnatural for me.
Driving in cars is unnatural.
Yeah.
So what?
Okay, I'm saying, listen, if a man gets feces on his penis, it's unnatural. It's unnatural for two.
I don't see how.
That's why you won't try it. Why don't you try it? Why don't you try it out? Why don't you let a man
I don't feel like it. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like asparagus. That doesn't mean that eating asparagus is wrong.
You're not going to say it's unnatural because it's the platform. Your platform is agreeing with the homosexual activity.
We don't have a platform.
That's what your platform is doing.
We don't have a platform.
Y'all do got a platform. That's what y'all atheists it's a platform.
I happen to, I mean, to the extent that we're talking about my personal platform, my opinion is that people should be allowed to do what they want that doesn't harm other people.
They can. I agree with that. But just because I agree with it, you know what I'm saying, that don't mean that I can't say, hey, it's unnatural.
So you think it's okay for gay people to keep doing what they're doing, but you just want to let us know that it personally upsets you very much.
No, I didn't say it's I said that the atheists, listen, I began saying atheists is a platform now.
No, it's not.
For behaviors. It is a platform. Because there's no laws, there's no codes, there's no books and atheists.
Would you like me to introduce you to Charlie the homophobic atheist? Because he's called in a bunch of times and demonstrates that there is no one way to have an opinion about atheism. It's just that most atheists happen to see that there's not that good a reason besides religious jumping to conclusions to be against homosexuality.
Exactly. The majority of atheists, you just said it, you just made my point. The majority of atheists, you know what I'm saying, got a platform. That's what shit, more homosexuals.
That's not called a platform. That's called common sense.
That's called it's called common sense that it's unnatural for two men or two women to be together. And people trying to raise children to think that this is right. It's not nothing natural about it. Tell me something natural about it.
Why do you spend so much time obsessing over what two men or two women are doing?
Tell me something natural about it. Tell me something natural about it.
It's a perfectly natural expression of my sexuality.
No, your feelings. It's a personal natural because you see that's one thing about the human experience. We feel a certain way, so we just do it. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no boundaries on what we do.
Yeah, and there are no boundaries on that because you know why? It doesn't make sense to put any boundaries on what people do when it harms no one.
Tell me why I don't. Because we're social creatures. Tell me why I don't.
You tell me, are you asserting that there's some harm to homosexuality?
Yeah, I'm saying, because we're being social creatures.
What is it?
I'm saying?
What's the harm?
Okay, the harm is when you raising in kids' mind, because I remember when I was a kid, it's nothing, you know what I'm saying, you got an interaction of what's right and what's wrong. You know that, okay, this is a girl. I know that this is a girl. I know it's not right for me to, you know what I'm saying, to play with boys a certain way. I didn't have nobody to tell me.
Dude, We actually both have kids. Jen's is adopted, but I have a kid. Are you trying to tell me you think I never sat down with my son and told him anything about what's right and what's wrong?
That's not what I'm speaking of.
No, that's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
You said atheists don't talk about what's right and wrong.
No. I said, listen, when I was a child, I'm speaking now, when I was a child, I knew that, you know what I'm saying, I'm playing with this boy, playing with this girl, and I knew that, you know what I'm saying, this is the opposite. Even science.
How young a child are you talking? Because when I was a really little kid, I didn't know about or want to know about any of that stuff.
You knew about your private parts and stuff like that. Your parents teach you, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Your private parts when you're young.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know all the details? Yeah, okay.
No, I didn't know all the details, but you knowing that it's certain things you do and don't do. But see, you're not going to say it because, like I say, once again, you don't want no man to enter your rectum because, you know what I'm saying, you know it's not natural. You know
what?
It's not natural.
So
you know it's not natural.
It's because he's straight.
It's because I'm not into it, that's all. No, I don't know it's
Tony,
not natural.
Tony, do you realize that there are lots and lots of gay men who never have anal sex because they're not into it?
I don't know. I don't take no surveys.
And there's lots and lots of straight men who have anal sex all the time because they really dig getting pegged.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well,
you should get out more.
Now you do. You can't unhear it, I'm afraid.
All I know is that, you know what I'm saying, that the it's an exit only, just like you food, even though we got.
Did you know? Hey, did you know that there are a lot of men who enjoy having anal sex with women, and women like it too?
No, it's unnatural.
You didn't know that either.
You didn't know that?
Listen.
Do you know about oral sex? I mean, can I explain some things to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but
you know you can't have babies that way either, right?
No, you can't.
So
no, you can't.
So are you against that too?
No, it's not. Listen, it's not being what's against. I understand we have feelings. You missing the whole point. I'm saying at the end of the day, it's not natural for two men or two women to be together like that. I'm talking about for us, it's not. Opposites attract. That's according to science. You can't.
Not to me.
Why does it happen in the animal kingdom? Is that unnatural?
Once again, yeah, the animal kingdom, but we are highly more evolved.
So it's natural then in the animal kingdom.
I'm saying probably to a certain level of degree.
So
there's nothing wrong. Listen, two women can be together, two men can be together, but I'm saying at the end of the day, for a person to say, "Oh, it's all good," and we're gonna raise all our kids to say, "Okay, it's cool to be gay." No, it's not. It's unnatural. But I'm saying that's your lifestyle. You can do it, but it's unnatural. It's unnatural. Because that's the case, then why don't you start trying to do it? Because you're not. You don't want nobody poking you in your
I don't
butt.
know how many times I need to keep explaining the difference between something being okay and something being not up to personal. I mean, something being up to personal taste. Like how many?
Try it out. You never know.
Right.
You don't have to.
You like it, you try.
You don't actually have to try everything to decide you don't like certain things. That's not how this works.
Right. But see, now the homosexual movement is trying to progress and trying to say that it's just like black people fighting for their rights and this is that. No,
it is.
Like I say,
there's a lot of parallels.
I realize that I'm a white straight guy sitting here, and so it's not really up to me to compare a couple of things. But also, I know a lot of black gay people, and not a lot, but
I'm black. I'm black.
Yeah.
I'm black, and I got gay friends. I'm cool, but they know that once we start sitting down and really getting to the core and the essence, you know what I'm saying? It's not natural, but surely, Jan, your mind gonna tell you it's right because you do it. Your mind gonna tell you it's right because you does it.
So Jan is disqualified from talking about it because she is gay, and I'm probably disqualified from talking about it because I'm not. So
I ain't saying you disqualified, but I'm saying by you accepting it, but you're not wanting to try it. That tells me that, hey, you know what I'm saying? Your mind.
Have you tried letting your wife peg you?
Unnatural. Huh?
Have you tried letting your wife peg you?
No, I wouldn't do because.
Well, how do you know you don't like it?
Because my anus is for exit.
Oh,
it's not for.
Well, how do you know?
I don't want to get too detailed about this guy's sex life. I feel uncomfortable right now.
You know, this might.
Yeah, you're gonna feel uncomfortable, but you're not gonna try, but you're gonna agree.
Neither are you.
Your fellow cohorts.
You're not trying it either.
You're not trying a whole bunch of things that I hear are pretty fun. Between a man and a woman, strictly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try because it's unnatural. That's not to be tampered with. That's for exit. That's all that's for.
Okay, you already agreed that it's not unnatural because it happens in the animal kingdom. You said it's natural to a degree. So I mean, do you want to change the subject to something less sexual, or is this the only thing you would like to talk about?
I'm saying I don't have a problem, and like I say once again, that my belief, I'm in the Nation of Islam. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that God appeared to the person
so you're a Muslim?
Muhammad. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm saying, and that only means to submit one will to God, which is the higher self. I don't believe in a spoof God out there. I believe that man is God, man higher self, and that's why I'm speaking about homosexuality, because that's in your lower nature. Like once again, you said animals. That's in a person's lower nature to be involved in
animals also breathe and poop and drink water and a lot of other things. I mean, just because an animal does something doesn't automatically mean there's something wrong with it, right?
I'm saying without a doubt in your lower nature.
No. Answer that question. Just because an animal does something doesn't mean that it's got anything to do with some terrible animal nature. So what does natural mean to you?
Natural means the way, just like for instance when you eat food, you know what I'm saying, but yet I can give you a feeding tube if you can't eat. It's naturally for you just to eat without a feeding tube. So natural is the core things and how existence made it to be.
Okay, driving in cars, natural or unnatural?
No, it's not necessarily natural. I wouldn't put it in
but you don't have a problem with it, right?
No, it's a form of transportation to get us quicker to a destination. That's all.
Yeah, and it's fine, right? So being natural or unnatural has nothing to do with whether an activity is right or wrong, right?
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
So you must have some other problem with gay people besides whether they're natural or not, because I think we've just agreed almost that just doesn't enter the discussion at all.
Right. So, but I'm saying where you get this, I don't have no problems. I got people that I'm cool with that are gay. You know what I'm saying? That I have no problems with. Matter of fact, I was forced over a decade of incarceration dealing with people with homosexual activities, and I have no problem. I know some homosexuals that are more straight up than regular so-called guys. But that's not.
But clearly, you do have a problem with it.
No, that's not because I talked to many homosexuals and they agree, except the ones who are bottled up to say, hey, because this is my lifestyle, it's righteous. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I don't have no problem, but to sit up here to say that, okay, like I say, once again, we always just.
If you don't have a problem with it, then why did you call?
Yeah.
Okay, because I made the statement once again that atheism has no code, no laws, no rules.
Well, you didn't answer my question.
Okay. So neither does theism. Listen, neither does theism. No, theism doesn't. You don't understand the difference between atheism and theism, and why those are different than specific religions. Neither theism nor atheism contain any elements of a worldview. Okay, you can't construct some kind of worldview out of either of those. What you can do is look at some other aspects and bring in things like, for example, Islam. That will give you some elements of a worldview. Okay, secular humanism informs my worldview. So there are ways of getting a worldview out of this that don't involve a God, but straight up atheism doesn't give you the framework for that. Nor have we ever claimed that it did. In fact, we've been very explicit about saying that is not a worldview.
Sure.
So you're approaching this from an incorrect perspective already.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just wondering, like, I don't like to go here because I don't want to paint with a broad brush or anything. You're Muslim and you sound like a perfectly nice guy. What do you feel? What are your feelings about honor killing?
Honor killings.
Yeah,
Well,
you haven't heard about that? Like, I think
Yeah.
just earlier this week there was a female blogger who was sort of a pop culture social media star, and she got murdered by her brother, who was he claimed following the Islamic faith. I guess because he thought she was a slut. I mean, I can't remember the details. Are you okay with that?
Well, it's each society and culture has their different levels and degrees on how.
Okay, so it's not just the religion; it's also the cultural aspect.
Okay, yeah. If I'm finished, I'm trying to make a comparison.
Right, but I mean, do you understand that we atheists are also part of, ingrained in a culture as well as just the part where we don't believe in God?
Yeah. That's what I mean about the platform. The culture.
Well, no, that's not what I mean, because we're all part, like you, we're part of Western civilization that has certain, that follows certain principles, like, if you kill somebody, then you're going to wind up going to jail. And there are people who take Islam seriously in, like certain, through certain interpretations that I hope you don't. And see it as the logical conclusion that that they should kill women who get a little too loose with their sexuality. But you're not okay with that.
But I'm saying you if you give me a second to make my point.
Okay.
My point is this: whenever you living in a particular culture and there's certain rules, you must abide by them rules. Them rules are there and put in place because the ruling class said for a reason.
And we do, even though we're atheists. You know that, right?
Now, right? Okay, yeah. But in this instance, if it's telling you that, you can't violate and do certain things, here's all the punishments. You know what I'm saying? So you must.
Popular opinion is actually against you for homosexuality. So I mean, the culture isn't actually with you on this one anymore.
And the law is against you as well.
Right.
Listen. It's plenty of people. It's even different homosexuals. You know what I'm saying? That would agree and say, yeah, okay, it's unnatural. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there are self-loathing people in every group. And all I can do is say I have sympathy for them. I get that they were indoctrinated to believe that there's something horrible about themselves, but part of our message here is there's nothing inherently horrible about human expression of love, regardless of what form it takes.
I didn't say it was nothing horrible. I didn't say it was nothing horrible. You putting words in my mouth.
No, you're the one who's saying. You're the one who's saying that you've.
Unnatural.
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Horrible.
I understand what you're saying.
Back to that again.
And here's what I'm saying. You're claiming that it's unnatural. You haven't backed that up. Popular opinion. No. You haven't. You've just made it. You've made an assertion, and in fact, you're committing what's known as the naturalistic fallacy. You claim that there is something out there that you've defined as natural, therefore it's good, and anything else is unnatural and therefore not good. So that's a naturalistic fallacy. And in fact, I wanted to point you to a show that Tracy and I did back in 2010. It's in the archive. It's number 644, and the title of it is The Naturalistic Fallacy. And I talk about this very issue and why you're completely wrong about why this is unnatural. Because it's not any more unnatural than being left-handed. Okay? So just because there's
what your science to back this up at?
I actually
back it up.
I actually give citations in that show. So
no, I'm talking about right now. What is your science right now to back up that homosexuality is not unnatural, but it's natural? Where's your science? Where's these scientists that took experiment from the brain that says that it's natural for two women or two men to be together? That it's in the DNA.
You know,
you can't get no information like that. It's because you're feeling a certain
are
way.
Are you familiar with something called the DSM-4?
No.
Okay. Yeah, DSM-4. It's actually a real thing. You should look it up. Homosexuality has not been defined as something, a mental illness or anything in probably close to 50 years now.
That is a list of mental disorders.
Yes.
That is used
Homosexuality
by
is not an illness.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with being gay. So there's that. And since then, there's been a ton of other information and other research that's been done on gay people in particular and straight people. And like I said, if you go to the archive and you watch that show, the Naturalistic Fallacy, it's episode number 644 from 2010. And it actually lists some research that talks about this.
Yeah. So why is the person gay then?
There's probably a genetic basis to it. In fact, the research indicates...
Now you said probably. There's no facts. You got no facts. It's just
do you understand genetics? No, of course you don't understand genetics. You understand genetics confers only potential. So... even if somebody inherits a gene for something, say some kind of metabolic disorder, it doesn't mean they're going to have that, the consequences of that, as long as we understand what the metabolic disorder is and we take appropriate precautions when they're an infant. There's one called PKU, and if we know ahead of time, we can restrict a certain amino acid, and all of the consequences of that never manifest. Okay, so genes confer only potential. There's lots of other things that affect something as complex as sexual behavior. And it's not something that you could boil down to as, well, you inherited this gene, therefore you're gay. That's not how it works. Incidentally, that's not how left-handedness works either.
So maybe how it works is that a person saying, "Hey, I can do whatever I want to do. It's no rules. I'm just going to be in life."
That's actually, that never went through my mind. And in fact, I don't know of a single gay person who ever had that thought process when they were figuring out that they were gay.
Right.
Look, Tony, we've been talking to you since the beginning of the show. It's been over a half hour, and I want to say I've had fun talking to you, and you're welcome to call back again sometime. But we're gonna go on to other callers.
I appreciate both of y'all. I appreciate both of y'all.
Thanks, Tony.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
Yes.
We've got more atheists on the line, but I'm gonna go ahead and do a palate cleanser and take the person, the person who has been on the longest, which is Joe from, Joe from Louisville, Kentucky, where I have talked to the atheist group there remotely. I think. How you doing, Joe?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can.
All right. Well, that actually kind of segued nicely because I was wondering how people generally justify their non-fundamentalist religious beliefs versus what I would consider more natural, which is to say that the Bible says this, and if I accept it as true, I should probably accept all of it as true. I would assume that this gentleman just now with the Quran did not believe that stoning his homosexuality friends was a good idea. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing where people start with some, I guess, fairly rigid religious beliefs, and given more information like secular laws and the consequences of stoning people to death, or even science, those things tend to moderate religious beliefs. And I think that particularly for some of the non-fundamentalist religions, it's a way of survival in a world where increasingly science and our understanding of basically humanity interferes with a very rigid interpretation. So the only way for them to survive as a religion is to modify those beliefs and kind of moderate them.
Yeah, that makes sense. It just seems to me like I come from a non-fundamentalist household, but then when I became an atheist and they were like, "Oh my God, you can't be that." No, you believe in God. You have to. Like, they didn't understand. But then I showed them the Bible and I said, well, do you think that since that I now no longer believe in God, your hands should be the first on me and you should kill me? And they said no, and I said, well, you're not really justified in that unless you at some point say, I have to kind of use my own skepticism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny that you ask if religious fundamentalism is defensible instead of religious liberalism, because I know a lot of atheists who would actually argue the other way and say, well, fundamentalism is more pure and more honest and more internally consistent, and so if you're not a fundamentalist, then you're not taking the religion seriously enough. I don't
That's
actually...
exactly how I feel.
What?
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that's exactly how I feel.
Oh, so you think fundamentalism is the more defensible position? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, definitely.
I heard you backward.
I'm sorry.
I said that as devil's advocate, but I don't really care because I think both liberal believers and fundamentalist believers are full of it, and they are just making up their own reality that's not in evidence and blaming their wrongness on the book. And speaking for myself, I would rather you heard our whole call with Tony back there. Yeah. We just went round and round in circles with him spitting out stuff that was obviously ridiculous, but he couldn't really see it, even though he'd directly contradicted himself within a few seconds of saying the next sentence.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I would say is that if you say it's more defensible, I guess if your criteria is that are these people consistently adhering to an arbitrary but rigid set of rules, which is essentially what Tony was talking about, that this is unnatural and I can't tell you why, but it is because my set of rules say it is. And if that's the criterion you're using to determine that if something is more defensible, then okay, that's one thing. But if I look at some other options out there for assessing whether a religion is defensible, and one of those is, does it at least attempt to reconcile itself with what we know about science? And so if somebody's saying, yeah, I believe that the story of creation literally happened the way it describes in Genesis, whichever account you believe, so pick one, neither of those can be reconciled with what we know about science. And so, is that defensible? In my mind, it isn't. Mm-hmm. But, if, like I said, if rigid consistency in your belief, and adherence to an arbitrary set of rules, if that's your criterion, then, yeah, they're more defensible if they're rigid fundamentalists.
Right. Being a computer science student, I like to refer back to the old Gödel's theorem and say it is for formal mathematical systems, but I also think that people's minds are never both complete and consistent. Nobody has a totally thorough understanding of the world. Everybody's got little inconsistencies and falsehoods stuck in their brain somewhere. Liberal theism is perhaps not as consistent about accepting the stuff in the book, but it is also more complete in the sense that it picks up more true facts in the world that is sort of in competition with the bullshit that they get from their holy books.
Yeah.
So they are wrong in different ways, and I think the best solution to that is to basically keep trying to educate people about the places where they are most wrong, and also, don't encourage them to go with more wrong stuff just because you think it's consistent with the other wrong stuff that they also think.
Right. Well, and the other thing I will tell you is that you didn't specify which denomination, which non-fundamentalist denomination you were a member of. But what I can tell you is that for a lot of the mainline Protestant denominations that are considered not fundamentalist, okay, going down this path where you sort of attack them with other people's fundamentalist beliefs is not a good way of convincing them that their own beliefs are false. It pretty much solidifies their view that they've got the right answer, because they are not rigidly adhering to a set of arbitrary rules. They are encouraged to apply their own interpretation to certain things in the Bible. And they have a very limited subset of things that they consider to be like the core Christian beliefs. And as long as somebody believes those core Christian beliefs, they're considered to be in full communion with that denomination, and that's fine. And so, the trick is going to be finding out what those core beliefs are, and basically taking them down sort of a Socratic path where they examine those beliefs and decide, what they believe and why. And what you may end up with is somebody that comes out of that with an even firmer belief in, their version of Christianity or whatever. So you may not get what you want out of that, but it's a good exercise either way. I mean, I think that whatever people's beliefs are, they should have reasons for them, and those reasons should be grounded in, reason and evidence. So anyway, like I said, I would avoid attacking non-fundamentalists with fundamentalist beliefs.
Well, I just look historically, and you look at slavery in America. Slavery was totally much more biblically sound than the opposition. I mean, the people who were opposed to slavery were not biblically justified, at least as much.
Yeah, but who cares?
Right.
Why are you trying to argue what's biblically justified when you think the whole thing is bunk? I mean, and not even the whole thing. I mean, there are undeniably some true statements in the Bible.
Right.
They're hard to pick out, but they refer to cities that existed, and they have like aphorisms in the what do you call them? The Psalms and stuff that are taken individually, good advice. So I mean, I just prefer to treat the Bible like any other book of fiction that has some true things and some false things. If somebody is claiming to get all their beliefs from the Bible, maybe it's worth poking at and finding out why they would want to bother doing that in the first place. But I just generally don't see any point in digging into digging more deeply into the Bible and finding a list of things that you say they should believe, which obviously they shouldn't. That seems to be moving in the wrong direction.
Yeah, well, I just feel like if for example, we had a science book and it had the phlogiston theory in it, you wouldn't, after finding out that it's wrong, you wouldn't read through the rest of it to see if it's right. You would say, oh, well, this is clearly not going to be a good resource.
Yeah, and I agree. I do agree that pointing out some contradictions within the Bible is maybe a valid strategy. But once somebody says, I already know that there are some things in the Bible that I would call metaphorical or, it's not a literal book, then there's no point in just sitting there hammering on, well, you should take this book more seriously. Because they shouldn't. That's going the wrong way.
Right. I mean,
I just feel like it's intelligently dishonest, though.
Well,
to not be a fundamentalist.
Well, no, I don't. I mean, if you know that the story of creation, as described in the Bible, is not true, and we do know that, then why would it be intellectually honest to claim that it is and insist that that's how it has to be? And I mean, there's a whole cottage industry out there of people who have made a living doing exactly that and trying to shoehorn little bits of stuff that they claim is science into that whole creationism model.
I just see it as... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I don't find that to be intellectually honest, because some of those people actually do know something about biology, and they have to know on some level that what they're doing is very dishonest.
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel like they should believe in the Bible. I'm just saying that if they're going to be intellectually honest about it, they would say, well, I believe this half and not this other half. It seems inconsistent. Obviously, if I feel they were being genuinely skeptical, they would just eschew it.
Well, sure, but that gets into the discussion that is worth having, which is what's your method for determining what parts of the Bible are metaphorical and what parts you're going to accept as real?
Yeah, that's the real question, is what is your criteria, what are your criteria for determining what's true or not? And that is a way more interesting discussion than the stupid stuff that the Bible is full of, in my opinion.
And that gets back to the conversation we had with Tony, because what Tony has is an arbitrary list of rules that he has to follow. Okay, what he doesn't have is a method for determining what is like his moral framework. He's got a list of rules. If we depart from those rules, he's pretty lost because he doesn't have a method to determine what's right or wrong.
I think you guys framed it perfectly when you were saying that that your way was just to figure out which method by which they were determining which was right or wrong. And I guess I was just coming at it from a different angle because I'm just very newly very skeptical and getting into this understanding of the arguments.
Right. Well, I mean, I understand that, and I think it is, certainly not a waste of time and maybe personally edifying for atheists to dig through all the different contradictions in the Bible. But this isn't really about the validity of the Bible. This is about what is the best way to communicate with people in order to achieve a goal, which, by the way, is the topic of the talk I'll be giving in Riverside in 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've all read, the Skeptic's Bible, and laughed at the different, contradictions and, the cruelty and all this stuff, and chuckled about, how can people believe this? But at the end of the day, that's not the kind of stuff that convinces people to, that what they believe is not true.
Yeah.
Right.
So, we're going to get back to some other callers. Thanks for calling, Joe.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right, sure.
Bye. We have Jessica in New York. Hello, Jessica.
Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. I was just calling, I guess, because right now, I mean, I still believe in God, but I've been questioning things, for a while, and, I don't know, I have really religious, Baptist family members that I'm dealing with, and I kind of get into a lot of, conversations with them, so I kind of feel like there's a lot of, push and pull, and I don't know, really what to believe anymore.
Do you feel uncomfortable with the idea of not believing in God anymore?
Yes, yeah, I mean, that's kind of anxiety-provoking. I think it's kind of hard. I mean, I guess I would call myself an agnostic, if not, if I wasn't afraid to, but I mean,
What is it that worries you about the idea that God might not exist? Or, alternatively, what worries about your own doubt?
I guess denying, Christ or going to hell. I mean, that's pretty. My family were independent Baptists, kind of like Duggars. So I mean, hell is a real.
Okay, so very fundamentalist then, huh?
Huh?
So very fundamentalist.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't quite like. I mean, they're a little more relaxed, but yeah, I mean, they believed in salvation, and they believe once you're saved, you're always saved. But I mean, if you were to deny Christ, or if you were to have these questions, people used to doubt, if you're really going to heaven. So I mean, anytime I start questioning things, I mean, I feel like I'm on the verge of a panic attack. So it's kind of
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand that completely because very hardcore religious people, which it sounds like even if you still believe in God, you are not. But people who do have this very manipulative way of trying to use fear to keep you following their own specific interpretations of beliefs. And it's not really sort of a way of persuading people that what they're saying is right. It's more of a threat. It's like, well, I can't convince you that this thing I believe is real, but you'd better believe in it anyway, because if you don't believe in the things that we're telling you, then you will be tortured and suffer forever and ever. And that's really scary, and I understand that. And it sounds like that's the biggest thing that you're grappling with, is all these threats that you've kind of internalized. Am I right?
Yeah, and some of it's not even, like, I'm afraid of, like, sometimes they'll quote a Bible verse, or I'll hear something, it's, like, really appalling. Like, earlier, I had a conversation, like, I try not to be around my family too much. I kind of try to distance myself, but basically, they went to Jesus camp type deal, like camp, earlier this week, and they came back and were kind of making comments that I knew were aimed towards me, and they were talking about free will and not deserving, like, anything good in life. And to me, that kind of, like, struck a nerve, like, you don't deserve anything good, like, you deserve to suffer in life, or you, like, and it, like, came back to, like, oh, Adam and Eve in the garden and Eve sinning, and I'm like, so we're being, like, punished for our great something grandmother's, like, sin or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense to me. But when I start quoting Bible verses, it's like, all the guilt starts coming back, and then, like, once they quote the Bible, it's like I almost start believing it, or I almost start feeling guilty.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's God or if that's me. So it's like very confusing.
That's the indoctrination that you've been subjected to, and that's what it does. Basically, it's designed to, every time you have a thought, a doubt of your own, it's designed to suck you right back in, and it's designed to convince you that what you're feeling is your God reaching out to you to pull you back, or your own conscience pulling you back in. And basically, one of the most effective things you can do to somebody, if you want to indoctrinate someone and you want to convince them to participate, in their own victimization, do something like this to them. Convince them that, they don't deserve good things, that bad things will happen to them if they don't follow the rules. Once you've got somebody participating in their own victimization, your work is done. You can step back. You don't really have to do anything.
And we're not even just talking about religion with this. That's
right.
Kind of a hallmark of abusive relationships in general. Have you, I've got a kind of a silly comparison to make, so I hope you're not insulted by this, but have you seen a show called The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's on Netflix, and it's kind of a goofy, it's a comedy about this young woman who's been part of this cult of this guy living in an underground bunker with 3 women he kidnapped, and he tells them all that they need to stay with him, or because if they go in the outside world, it's completely destroyed, and they'll never, they'll probably die immediately if they go out. Yeah. And then at the beginning of the series, they just get rescued and go outside and have to cope with the fact that everything they've been told since they were much younger is a lie, and sort of get over that hurdle. Maybe this isn't a good enough comparison with the infinite torments of hell, but what I'm trying to say is that this threat that something bad will happen is a hallmark of a lot more belief systems that definitely can't be true at the same time. You see what I'm saying? You see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I see that. Like, I'm definitely, like, even though I'm still calling myself, like, a believer in God, I mean, I see that even with my own family. Like, I guess they're considered fundamentalists because, like, especially with my sister, she's very conflicted. And she'll go to church and she'll go to these camps or revivals, and she'll come back, like, I guess really brainwashed. And she, like, everything that she likes or loves, like, it's like all of a sudden she gives up and she's like, oh, I'm focusing on God. And she used to want to, like, go to Broadway, and she had a lot of talent, but it's like she sacrificed everything. She's afraid God might punish her in life, or, you know, she's out of the will of God if she doesn't, like, consult him on everything. So, I mean, I do see that, like.
Yeah. And that's,
like
and those kinds of, you know, Bible camps and youth retreats and things like that, that's the purpose of that stuff, is basically to take, you know, especially young people away from their family and away from any outside influence, and have basically unfettered access to them, so you can pour all this crap into their head and you know, heavily indoctrinate them. You know, I kind of avoid the term brainwashing because, you know, that has some kind of a lot of baggage, actually.
But I mean, I would definitely say it's emotional abuse.
It is emotionally abusive, especially if you're telling somebody that they're undeserving of good things. And apparently that's been a message that you've received, and you've kind of internalized that to some degree. And that is not true. So I'm going to tell you something here. You do deserve good things, okay? And if you continue with this investigation of your religious beliefs, and you at some point decide that your religious beliefs that you've held for your whole life are wrong, and you reject them, nothing bad will happen to you as a result of that, okay? That in and of itself won't cause anything. There will be no divine retribution or anything like that. Because this God that you're afraid of doesn't exist. There is no hell, other than what we create for ourselves here on this planet. And we're pretty good at that.
Certainly, I mean, you know, while a lot of people would say we can't prove that eternal suffering doesn't exist, and we can't really prove it, but we can certainly attest that you can go around being an open atheist for years and years, and you won't get any punishment for it now.
Yeah.
Because we definitely haven't really experienced any major side effects, you know, terrible side effects. Although you might get some blowback from bigoted relatives.
Yeah, your family is another story. They may have, you know, they may cut ties with you. They may try to bring you back into the fold or whatever. You know, that's a whole nother story. But that's not divine retribution in any way. You know, that's just them, you know, and their indoctrination, and they're doing what they think they have to do. Because if they really believe that you're going to go to hell as a result of this, of course they're going to try to pull you back in. So that's something you have to expect.
Right. And the other thing is, I would just say you should never be afraid to ask the question, how do you know that?
Yeah.
And if the answer is always, well, that's a bad question, what we should be talking about is how terrible your punishment will be if you don't believe me. That's a huge red flag. If a car salesman said this to you, you should not buy a car from them. And if someone claiming to understand the infinite purpose of the universe tells you that they know that, but they can't tell you how or why they know that, you should treat them as a used car salesman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes sense. It's just like, I guess because it had kind of past, well, since I was about 15, I've had a lot of stuff happen. Once I start really questioning, me and my family had a falling out, I've had a lot of bad stuff happening. Mm-hmm. And because I came out to my family as, like, bisexual at, like, 15, ever since then, I've had a whole host of, like, terrible things happen. And I constantly have my family drilling it in my head that I'm being tried, or it's my trial here on Earth. And I'm going to keep going through this period of, like, testing from Christ until I, like, return to him. And because right now I'm backslidden or whatever. So, I mean, all that makes sense, what you're saying. But I mean, like, it's really hard when you have, I mean, I've had, like, a whole bunch of things happen. So it's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's really hard to get.
I really understand that it's scary and difficult, and I want you to remember that we as atheists have, you know, we haven't tried to, like, coerce you to change your mind or threaten you. I mean, I just hope that you will read all you can and, not internalize the emotional abuse that you get subject to as a result of it, and make the most intelligent decision that you can find.
Yeah. And I had one other question. I don't know if anyone knows about like the origins of like the King James Bible, but that's like a conversation that comes up a lot. Like I try to avoid the conversation, but
I didn't catch that. It's a little hard to hear.
Yeah, origins of the King James Bible.
Oh, I wouldn't always say this, but I would say go to Wikipedia first.
Yeah. Yeah, Wikipedia is actually not a bad source for that.
I mean, as just basic history and a set of links that you can follow, probably some good books to read.
Yeah.
I know some stuff about the history of the original Bible, but I've never dug that far into exact circumstances of King James.
Yeah, I was just wondering because, I mean, like, that's another thing that comes up a lot because, like, all the New Age Bibles are apparently bad because they change the word of God. And
I think you'll find if you talk to Bible historians, they'd say that the King James version is actually not a very good translation and is not that accurate. And I know there are a lot of religious fundamentalists who say, oh, it's the only source of accurate Bible, but they don't know anything.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, I don't really, I wasn't very,
well,
confused, but.
I hope you figure stuff out and feel free. We're there for you. Call back any Sunday.
Yeah, you can call back any Sunday.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
It's always painful to hear about people that are basically being abused, emotionally abused, with religion.
Yeah.
It's like all she's doing is questioning, which is, that's a normal thing. It's a good thing,
Right, but I mean, it's kind of a feature of religion that since it isn't internally consistent or consistent with science and can't be investigated, the tactic then becomes to make doubt the greatest evil that you can commit.
Yes.
It's sort of a defense mechanism.
Yep.
All right, we're going to talk to Ali in Dubai. Are you there, Ali?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Not bad.
But before you start, can I ask, how'd you hear about us? Have you been watching or did you just see us online?
Internet. I was looking for pranks on YouTube.
Okay.
And I saw I saw one of your things, and then I watched a few episodes, and I thought I'd just call in and give my 2 cents.
Okay. Well, nice to have you on. What's up?
Well, basically, I would like to start with kind of like a premise.
Okay.
I'm a creationist, but I'm not religious. And
okay.
That's probably something you haven't heard very often. But it starts with this. It's to the roots of. Let's talk about the roots of atheism.
Okay. What are the roots of atheism?
So you definitely are a theist, right? You believe in God.
I believe that there's a creator.
Okay.
But I'm not subscribed to any such religion totally.
Okay, so you're not part of a formal organized religion, but you do believe in and worship, ? This creator or not?
No, I don't worship.
Okay.
Well, everyone has their own ways, I guess, of worship. If you believe there was a creator, you would have some kind of spiritual connection, so to speak. But I don't do any...
Not necessarily. I mean...
9 to 5 religious rituals, basically.
Okay.
Okay.
So what do you think are the roots of atheism?
This is the point I wanted to make. Would you agree that your beliefs of atheism are rationalized based on your understanding of your reality, your construct of the universe, e.g., how old you think the world is, the way the world goes around the sun, No,
I didn't start by knowing all that scientific stuff and then decide there was no God.
Yeah.
I agree with that because I was an atheist as well at one point.
Okay.
But let's put it this way, hypothetical question. If you believe that there was a glass dome in the sky, for example, you would then have to rationally just a second.
Yes.
You would then have to rationally accept that it's more likely that that was created by a creator than it came out of nowhere.
I don't know. It depends on the circumstances.
Yeah. I think that's a bizarre thing to be talking about, but okay, I'll.
Well, give me a second, because it has to lead somewhere. Any good argument starts primitively. If you believe that, say, in evolution as you do, and you believe that the Earth goes around the sun and we're in an infinite universe and there's billions of stars and billions of galaxies, it's a natural assumption that there is no creator. It makes no sense. Correct? It's a natural assumption.
I don't know what that has to do with the claim that a God exists.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Well,
I don't think the one follows from the other.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, but
If
you just
however,
asked if we agree with something, and we said no. So I hope your argument will incorporate that.
But it's not. It is. It will incorporate that.
Okay.
Okay.
If you, again, continuing from what I was saying, if you believe those things, it's a natural assumption that there wouldn't be a God.
We just said we don't
disagree
agree with
that.
So get off the script.
I'm not on a script. I'm trying to continue. I'm trying to get to what I'm saying. I'm saying
we disagree with your claim.
If you woke up one day from scratch, let's say you were born, but you somehow had a conscious mind and you were able to understand things, and you were in a perfectly designed box, for example, and it had a very organized structure, which you could recognize, and it wasn't a random sort of infinite galactical universe. You're more inclined to believe that it was structured in some way, correct?
If I didn't have any direct experience of other people or any other intelligence outside my own, but somehow I magically developed the knowledge without being taught anything, it would be hard for me to conceive of a creator, considering that I wouldn't know any other people exist.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So that's a weird counterfactual.
Let me just put my facts forward, because we'll just run around in circles otherwise.
Okay.
I assume that you believe that the moon reflects the sunlight of the sun to the earth.
I think that's been pretty well established. Yeah.
Okay. So here's an experiment I encourage everyone to do. Something that you can do yourself.
Okay.
And it will provide undeniable proof that the moon does in fact produce its own light. Now here's the experiment. Mm-hmm. You can get a thermometer, preferably when it's a full moon, because the moonlight is strongest. And if you get two sets of thermometers or any temperature measuring device, you put one exposed to the moonlight and one in the exact same atmosphere except shaded by the moonlight. The one which is exposed to the moonlight will be measurably cooler, because moonlight actually has a cooling effect, not a heating effect.
What?
I don't believe that's true.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
Well, it doesn't necessarily matter if you believe it. It's something that you can do tonight in your own garden.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we can't do the experiment while you're here on the call. So you're just saying that thing.
That's true. That's true. But you can do it tonight, and you can find out, and people listening can do it tonight and find out. And if it is true, would you then accept that what you've been taught about what the moon actually is and what the sun actually is and the construct of your universe is not actually true?
No,
if the moon,
if that turns out to be true, I would assume that I don't understand the way light and heat work the way I do, since I'm not a physicist.
Yeah, I would investigate why.
I would look and try to to try to see what people more credible than you have said about that.
Well, it's irrelevant about credibility. If you understand.
No, that's very relevant.
Yeah, if you're going to spout a bunch of stuff about how stuff works, I'm going to want to know why you think you know that.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not spouting. You can do this experiment by yourself. You can measure it by yourself. Anyone can measure it by themselves. It doesn't take a science genius to get a thermometer and put two and two together and realize that the moonlight gives a cooling light.
Even if that turns out to be true, I still wouldn't see what that has to do with a God.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. If it's true, then it is true also that we have been lied to about what the moon actually is, what the sun actually is, the distance of the Earth and the distance of the sun and the moon to the Earth, and the entire construct of reality will come off that fact. It's first like in the same way that you tell people who believe in religion to break free of their sort of the bindingness of their religious beliefs, which is just faith-based, in the same way that you have this atheistic
it sounds like you're asking me. It sounds like you're asking me if it turned out that I was mistaken about a scientific fact, or perhaps my science teachers had deliberately misled me in some way, would I immediately accept that everything you believe about a creator is true?
No.
And the answer is
I'm
no.
not saying that. Of course not. Of course not. But would it then lead you to question many other things about your reality?
Well, you do realize we've been to the moon, right? We have some rocks.
Not us personally.
Not us personally, but humans have been to the moon.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask you a question? Because you're on camera right now, and I don't mean to sound offensive, not at all. I respect you guys. Okay. Have you seen? You actually believe that? You honestly believe that?
Yes. Yes.
Have you seen the footage of that? It's
yes.
like the
humans
Stingray
have
cartoons.
Humans have been to the moon.
80s. It's embarrassing for anyone over the age of 11 to actually believe that footage.
You know what's embarrassing is to have a full-on moon hoaxer conspiracy theorist call this show and actually make these claims.
I actually have managed to find a discussion of this point on physicscentral.com because somebody is talking about the fact that there are a whole lot of videos out there where people take a laser-guided thermometer and point it at something. Yeah. Apparently that's something these videos all have in common, and he's saying, the laser thermometer doesn't actually tell you the temperature at the spot. The laser just helps you aim, and people are holding the laser in the wrong spot.
I don't know why you're talking about laser.
Have you personally done this experiment?
Yes, I have.
What kind of thermometer were you using?
I just used the basic thermometer because the like a mercury one.
Like, did you lay it on the ground? I don't even care about this experiment, really.
Yeah, really.
This is a weird line of questioning.
If you had deductive reasoning, one thing leads to the other. Correct. If you know that.
I don't think you're doing the deductive reasoning thing right.
Yeah.
Well, you're just sort of like bickering at me now instead of listening to what I'm saying and actually responding.
Well, I mean, you keep repeating this thing over and over that you're expecting us to just believe and grant you, and we don't.
You answered me by saying that we've gone to the moon, and yet many people know that didn't happen. So you can't use that as an answer.
Did he already say that and I missed it?
Yes,
okay,
he's a moon hoax.
Sorry, I was busy
theorist.
Looking up stuff on physics.
Yes. So do you think we have a rover on Mars, or is that a hoax too?
You believe in that?
I actually worked on a part of that project, so yeah, I do believe in that.
So did I. Does that make it true?
Yeah, I kind of know the guys who did
that. I don't believe you.
Someone showed you a CGI.
When you are a guy who's saying that everything we've been taught about physics is a lie, I have a hard time believing that you are a person who works with...
And you laugh at people who say that everything they've learned about God from the Bible is wrong. It's the same thing. Let's talk about cold, hard facts. Let's talk about cold, hard facts. I'm telling you that the moon produces its own light, which is a cooling light, therefore cannot reflect the sun's heating light. If you have something to counter that, I'm willing to hear it. If you don't, you have to consider it and move on.
No, we don't. We can actually say you're full of shit because the scientific community, there's a consensus around this, and you're wrong.
Do that experiment because that will lead to the truth. That will lead them to know that the Earth, sun, the moon produces its own light.
Hey, we got a lot of listeners. Can we please get somebody to go ahead and do this moon experiment at home and email us?
Please do the moon experiment.
Make sure that make sure it's best to do it on a full moon, and it's best to make sure to make the experiment fair, that one thermometer is exposed to the moonlight and one is not, but in the same environment.
All right.
And
I will keep an eye out. I will keep an eye out for people who have done this experiment over the last week and post some of the emails we get to freethoughtblogs.com/AXP. So come back a little later and check that out.
Thank you for your time. Can I make one more point? Thank you. Just one more point, yeah. Anyone with, if a lot of people, we all wake up every day, or some of us do at least, and we look outside and we see the moon and we see the sun and we see these things and we assume that what we've been told about them is true because it's brainwashed into our mind in the same way that a religious person will be brainwashed. It's the same thing, and it's just taught to us as science in a religious sense. Anyone, if you look at the moon, it's told to us that it's a sphere. It cannot reflect light in the way that they're saying it is. If you look at the phases of the moon, a sphere cannot give you a full face if it's reflecting light. You look at a billiard ball in a pool ball.
So the moon's not a sphere? Is that what you're saying?
Apparently it's not a sphere.
The moon's not a sphere, everybody. That's what you get from believing in God.
Did I say the moon's not a sphere, or did I say the moon cannot reflect light like that? I said the moon produces its own light. By the way, that's what's written in scriptures. Just another thing, you shouldn't be so...
Which scriptures?
Yeah.
Well, in the Quran it says that the moon
in the Quran,
its own light. And I believe in the Bible it has references that indicate that. I'm not sure if it says that completely, but it says that the moon produces its own light. And that's where all the symbolism of feminism and masculinism comes from as well. The sun is given as the masculine sort of deity in a sense, and the moon is a feminine because the moon produces its own light.
That's fascinating, dude.
Everything that's been taught about the universe and all this star is science fiction, and that's what leads to atheism.
Cool story. We'll talk to you some other time. Bye.
Wow.
Yeah. No, but seriously, write in with the results of that experiment.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I have a thermometer or feel like making the effort to get one, but I will totally listen to what the viewers write in.
I think my meat thermometer is going to give an accurate enough resolution.
This is interesting because the experiment must measure a pretty big difference in moonlight and sunlight, because if you if you just point it and it changes like 1/10 of a degree, you wouldn't notice that. So the moon must be several degrees cooler than the shade, apparently. So let's hear those results.
Yep.
freethoughtblogs.com/AXP. Check in the next week.
Yep.
And let's see, we don't have very much time left, but we're going to talk to David from North Little Rock. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing good. How y'all doing today?
Good.
Pretty good. What do you think about that moon experiment? Did you hear that?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't believe, I don't put my faith in moons, and I don't put my faith in suns.
Okay.
The only sun that I put my faith in is Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, tell us more.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure, just in case if anyone didn't know the definitions of atheism and theism, I was just going to briefly go over them.
I want to warn you, by the way, that we've got 6 minutes left in the show. I'm sorry we took so long to get to you.
No, it's okay. I just appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to be out here and share a little bit of knowledge and get a little bit of knowledge on y'all's end of what y'all believe in.
Fire at will.
Okay. All right. So just looking up on the internet of atheism is just the definition is disbelief or lack of belief in the existence of God or gods, and the definition of theism is the belief in the existence of a God or God, especially belief in one God as a creator or the universe.
Yes. We knew that.
Yep.
Okay. And I just want to make sure that all the other people that may be listening know it as well. That's the only reason I brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason that I believe in one God. And the reason that I believe in that one God, I know that one God exists, is because of what he has done in my life and how he has changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
There's several point of my time growing up as a kid and even through my teenage years, I grew up in a church home, in a Baptist home. My mom and dad wanted me to go to church a lot, and I didn't want to go because I didn't like going. It's not something that interested me.
Okay. Hey, David,
yes, ma'am.
This is all very interesting, but we really don't want to hear your testimony.
Okay.
What we're more concerned with is, so you say that you have a personal experience that convinces you this God is real?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. So why should we accept your personal experience as justification for accepting your beliefs?
I would like you to accept it because, for one, it's changed my life. I've had an experience, an outer body experience, where I accepted Jesus.
Again, that's your experience, but why should that affect me?
Well, I believe that it should affect you because when you do accept Jesus into your heart as your Savior, that God sends the Holy Spirit into your body. And when the Holy Spirit is sent into your body through Jesus from God, it gives you a moral conscience of how you should be.
I have a moral conscience. And in fact, I'm actually a former Christian, so I know that you believe all this stuff. I understand that that's what you believe. My question is, why should your experiences, your claimed experience, have any effect on what I believe?
Because it made my life just more at peace.
And again, that's your belief. So if a Muslim calls and says that his belief in Allah has changed his life for the better, and therefore you should believe it, are you going to accept that?
Well, what they have to believe in, the thing is they believe differently as far as their being.
But it made his life so much better. Don't you understand? You should believe it.
There's a lot of things that feel good, that smell good, that taste good, but doesn't mean that we should be doing it. But we do as humans.
I agree.
You don't understand what we're getting at here. I mean, the reason that you're giving us for us adopting your beliefs is a reason that you wouldn't accept from anybody else. So why should we accept it from you?
Yeah, if a Muslim told you that his life was changed for the better because he accepted Allah and believed in Islam and that Allah has no son, you wouldn't take that from him, right? Just because he said nice things happened to him after that?
I believe that, you can, if you believe in Muslim or any other religion, I believe that can cause you to be a better person. I think there's a lot of people that can be good and not believe in God at all.
Does that make it true?
What true?
Well, Islam, for instance.
I do not believe in Islam.
So you think it's not true?
No, I do not believe in Islam. I believe there's certain things that might be true and that might help other people. But as far as to get...
Okay, so we can believe that you've had these, what you think are experiences from God and that they've improved your life, and still not think that any of your beliefs are true, right?
Well, I believe that my beliefs are true.
But we don't. So, and you wouldn't accept that from somebody from a competing religion. Like, you wouldn't even give it a second thought, right?
I would listen to anything that anyone has to say.
Well, we are listening to you. We just don't believe you.
No, I said I will listen to anybody and anything that they have to say and anything that they believe in, because that's how I believe we learn from another.
Right, but you wouldn't just take their word for it that Islam is correct just because they said they had good experiences.
No, I wouldn't.
And that's where we're coming from. So now we understand each other.
Okay. I guess you could say that.
Okay. I can say it again.
The only thing that I care about is, from what I've experienced and what I believe in, I believe that's true eternal life and happiness. And for people to not believe in it and lean on their own understanding, and they don't ever choose to accept Jesus and go that route, that it's going to be ultimately decided by our judge, which is the creator of this entire universe.
Do you care whether that's accurate or not? Or do you just care that people believe it?
I know it's accurate within my own heart.
Okay, well, we don't.
Yeah.
Well, And like I said, if you never believed in Jesus Christ, then you never will.
She did.
I did. I was wrong.
Okay, well, I don't know
wait,
what,
and are you saying that nobody ever converts to Christianity?
I never said that. No, I
Okay.
believe at any given time that somebody could, say that they, accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior,
Right.
and
So
build a
you
relationship
just said
with
an
them.
untrue thing a minute ago then.
What did I say that was incorrect?
I think you said if somebody didn't accept Jesus Christ, then they never will.
Yeah.
Wasn't that what
No,
you said?
no. I said that if at any given time, if they do not accept Jesus Christ, then they will not be able to go to heaven. I'm not saying that someone cannot believe in something
Okay,
differently.
but we don't
and
believe
then
heaven
change
is
their
real,
belief.
so what? I don't think you're going to heaven.
Well, okay, I know that I am.
The word "no" is a very
Yeah,
complicated one. It means more than just really, really believe seriously.
I really, really want this to be true.
Anyway,
This is not.
we're out of time.
This is okay.
Call back
thank you.
another week, and you can
Thank
have
you.
another shot at convincing us or somebody else or the audience. Thank you for
Have a good
calling.
evening.
All right. Thanks.
And that's our show, and you've been a lovely co-host, Jen. Thank you for
you.
joining me. And
It was fun.
Yep.
Entertaining.
This is the most fun I've had on the show in a long time,
Yeah.
I think. We're going to Threadgills, but in 3 weeks we are going instead to Star of India. So mark your calendars if you're local to Austin. Come to my talk in Riverside. It will be so much fun. And thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hi, this is Russell Glasser, host of The Atheist Experience. You know, The Atheist Experience is made possible by volunteers and the generous support of viewers like you. If the promotion of positive atheist culture and separation of church and state are values that you hold, please consider contributing by becoming an ACA member or visiting our product page at evolvefish.com under the Partner tab. Thank you.